What is going on there, everyone? Hope you're having a wonderful morning. All right, we are going to discuss this story from The Hill. McConnell has the votes to block Democrat witnesses' demands in a Trump impeachment trial. Now, the reason why this is kind of a significant story is because it's changed. We had two moderate Republicans who questioned McConnell's whole, you know, this is just a waste of time. We're just, we're gonna side with the president right offhand. So there was who was it? It was Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. Now both of them had reservations about that, which I can understand. They're independent thinkers, which thank God the right at least has independent thinkers still, unlike it seems like the left has. But yeah, at least, it was showing some independent thinking. And something has swayed them to change their minds. So let's get into the story. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has the votes to quash Senate Democrats leader Chuck Schumer. I'm not going to say how they wrote it because I'm not going to disgrace the Charles name. Demands to require additional witnesses testify at the state of President Trump's impeachment trial. Two state moderate senators, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, on Monday evening backed McConnell's position that the Senate should follow the precedent of 1999 set in the Clinton impeachment trial and defer until later in the process the question of calling additional witnesses. Now, first off, just full stop, this should have already been done. That's the main purpose of the House, is during this impeachment, the House calls witnesses. They do all the testimony in the House. And then the Senate gets supposed to get the articles from the House. The House Speaker, Pelosi, should have, passed them along, like protocol. And then they choose to convict or not on the evidence and everything that the House has gathered and through the testimony that the House has gathered. Well, none of that's happening because Nancy Pelosi's lost her mind. She simply just lost it. This woman has no credibility towards anything, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, that's where we're at. This whole thing is being just... it's stalled because of Nancy Pelosi. It's as simple as a simple way you can put it is Nancy Pelosi is just stalling for no reason because she knows she doesn't have a case. She knows the Democrats did not make their case. That's the only reason they want the Senate to call further witnesses, is because they didn't make their case. They rushed it. They called nothing but partisan hacks. And it was there for the world to see. It was on national television for the whole world to see, and people saw it. People saw it for what it actually was. A nonsense. It was a farce of a trial. It was pathetic. Collin told reporters at Monday evening votes that the Senate should follow the 1999 president and consider the questions of subpoenaing additional witnesses and documents only after House impeachment managers and Trump defense teams presents their opening arguments. She noted in a statement Monday that Senator Majority Leader Trent Lott, Democrat leader Tom Daschle, adopted a resolution in 1999 to set out rules for the proceedings that didn't include any agreement for specific witnesses to testify. This process moved to a period during which the Senate debated and voted that 3 witnesses should be disposed. I believe that this process, the Clinton approach, worked well, she said. Murkowski also urged colleagues to follow the path laid out during the Clinton trial. I think we need to do what they did the last time they did this unfortunate process, and that was go through a first phase, and then they reassessed after that, she told reporters. The Alaska senator also said questions about whether former National Security Advisor John Bolton and other key witnesses should be discussed only after Speaker Nancy Pelosi sends the articles of impeachment to the Senate. Exactly. The Senate shouldn't be discussing really much of anything until the impeachment articles are produced. Sorry. I mean, that's just how it should be. That's kind of how everything's set up. This whole thing's unprecedented, people. I will keep saying this until the cows come home. This is an unprecedented situation because we've never actually had a president be impeached because they just don't like him. He hurts their feelings. He makes them feel sad. For no particular reason. Just because they are very weak-minded and they have no constitution. We don't have anything to get to. So you don't have any interesting news for me on that. Like when we might be able to get the articles, she said. She said the precedent set by Clinton trial is how we get started with this. I don't think there's any decision on Bolton because we don't have the articles, she added. The statement of these two crucial votes are a setback for Schumer and Pelosi, who have been pressing GOP moderates hard over the past several weeks to insist on an opening resolution for the trial that would set the table for subpoenaing witnesses and documents. This is a big blow to Nancy Pelosi because it was kind of her plan. She knew there were, the really moderate conservatives. She knew that they're going to look at this a little differently than the hardliners. Of course. The hardliners are going to say, you know what, we're just going to back the president regardless. The more moderates are going to say, we're going to take a look at everything. We're going to stand a little bit back and try to see everything as a whole, which they should do. I agree with that. And, they did. They took a step back. They took, their 2 weeks off, and they made their decision when they came back. And they've decided, I guess through just seeing the absurdness of the way the Democrats are handling the whole situation, have realized, you know what? This is a farce. This is nonsensical. This is completely unprecedented. Let's just squash it and let's move forward. Somehow, let's move forward. Let's keep this ball rolling. But no. Nancy Pelosi still is sitting on the articles of impeachment like they are eggs she is trying to hatch. The statements of these two crucial votes are a setback for Schumer and Pelosi. I already said that. Republicans control 53 seats and Democrats have 45. Plus the support of 2 independents. That means Schumer needs the support of at least 4 Republicans to pass an organizing resolution for the trial that meets his demands. Without Collins and Murkowski, the Democratic leader has no chance of passing a resolution that would require key witnesses to testify and key documents to receive review before a final up or down vote on the articles of impeachment. Schumer has insisted on hearing from Bolton, who said Monday that he would testify before the Senate if subpoenaed. Acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, Robert Blair, and Senior Advisor to Mulvaney, and Michael Duffy, Associate Director for National Security at the Office of Management and Budget. A simple majority is all it takes to ensure that the Senate issues a subpoena for these witnesses. If only 4 Republicans decide that Mr. Bolton and 3 other witnesses ought to be heard, they will be heard, because every Democrat will vote to hear, he said. Democrats are going to vote to do whatever prolongs this situation. That's all this is. It's a prolong. This is, you know how they said that Trump was I'm going to use their favorite term, without evidence. They said that Trump was doing this to help him, to benefit himself in the 2020 election. Well, I say nay to that because, like I said, there's no evidence of that. None of the Democrats' witnesses could say with any certainty that this was strictly to affect the 2020 election. None of them. None of them could say that the president ever uttered that he wanted to dig up dirt on Joe Biden to help him in 2020. Because I don't think the president sees Joe Biden as a threat at all. I don't think anybody with eyes can see Joe Biden as a threat to anybody but himself. I mean, come on. But, on the other hand, This is clear election meddling, in my opinion, on behalf of the Democrats trying to meddle in the 2020 election against Trump. They're just trying to drag this out closer and closer to the election. Don't you? I mean, can't you see this? I mean, it's right there in the open for everybody to see. This isn't something that should be shocking to anybody. I know people on the left are going to be, oh, that's not true. Well, prove it. Prove that that's not the case. You can't. There's no proof in any direction right now, it seems. Except the only proof we have is that the president committed no crimes to be impeached. This is the only proof we have of anything. McConnell on Monday said the Senate should stick to the Clinton precedent regardless of recent developments such as Bolton's statement. The Senate does not bob along on the current of every news cycle, he said on the Senate floor. He noted the Senate didn't vote to subpoena witnesses and new evidence for Clinton's trial until nearly 3 weeks after it adopted the opening resolution. In 1999, every single U.S. senator agreed to establish basic parameters for the start of the trial up front and be reserved mid-trial questions such as witnesses until later. The vote was 100-0, McConnell argued, sticking firmly to the position he has held in recent weeks. Senator Mitt Romney, I'm not the biggest fan of him, one of Trump's most outspoken critics, deviated most from the party line among GOP senators Monday, but he stopped short of saying he would vote to subpoena Bolton or any witness. Romney said he wants to know what Bolton has to say, but declined to make decisions on how he would vote on a subpoena until he knows more about the process. I would like to be able to hear from John Bolton what the process is to make that happen. I don't have an answer for you, he said. Okay, well, that's it's still up in the air pretty much, but the fact that we do have Collins and Murkowski saying, we're pretty much we're going to back McConnell. That means they've seen enough over their break. They've seen and heard enough that their minds have been swayed in a positive way towards the president. And these two women were a worry for the Republicans because you just don't know how everyone thinks independently, so you never know who's going to think what. And these two ladies, they don't have to just be partisan. That's one good thing about the conservatives. You don't have to be super partisan. You can have differing views, and it all works out. And guess what? We don't shame each other and attack each other for it. No. We just say, yeah, they have their opinions and we have ours. It's all good. Don't see that from the left anymore. But, so it's looking like Schumer and Pelosi, you're going to have to try to figure out another plan of attack. Because trying to go after the moderate conservatives doesn't seem to be working for you. Because just because they're moderate doesn't mean they're ridiculous and their minds are gone like y'all. Because y'all aren't moderate anymore. But yeah, I'd love to hear your comments on this. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. I will catch y'all on the flip side.